Thank you, Greg. Now, here we are, folks, with Stones to Abbigale again.
Yes, hello.
Yeah. We're doing this again, folks.
It's what we get paid the big internet monies for.
Yep. Just punch me anywhere, just not in the face. That's how I make my livings. We're about to send a shockwave through the internet. We're gonna, and then yes, Stones to Abbigale. Chapter 7.
The erectioning. Look at the enthusiasm. We've been building up all day to this. We've had a big hearty lunch. Been doing some stretches, some lunges.
And then we decided to watch things on Picard.
We did the Rocket Fist Rick workout.
Yeah.
It's intense. Like I'm exhausted.
100 sit-ups, 100 shots, 10.
And lifting those huge triangular weights. It's like. All right, so Chapter 7. So how's everybody doing, by the way? Is anyone watching Star Trek Picard on Amazon Prime?
No one. Clearly no one's watching stuff. Get on with it.
Yes, get on with it.
Get on with it.
Dracobula.
So I want Toby to be there for the school shooting scene. The rage would be legendary.
Remember, at this point, Toby would just be really confused. Like, what's this? Why is there a man juggling heavy weights? What? Why is his mustache so big and majestic? Someone did. Was it Bean Daddy did the fan art?
Yes,
Because
he did.
Bean Daddy.
Bean Daddy did the fan art, and it was glorious.
I found myself fallen, somewhere deep in a conscious state of unconsciousness.
Surely that should be falling.
Shoot me.
No, the school shooting comes later. We've been over this.
Some place I can't remember.
Toby's still not here for the fact that he
we all
doesn't
have
actually exist anymore.
Yeah. You didn't believe on it hard enough and he disappeared.
Yeah. No, guys, Toby's dead, and it's your fault. You didn't love him enough. We may have gone too dark with that series finale.
Gemma, just to derail the thing already, we were just talking about was it the Transformers movie, like the actual not the shitty live action ones, but the old like 80s cartoon. And Gemma was like saying like how Logan started to cry, and then she was like trying to like pick up, and I go, no, he died because you didn't love him enough. Just BoJack that child.
To be fair, he was only about 2. Right?
I don't think it, like, really, because, like, how would he have, like, 2 years old, how would he have, like, figured out, like, anything?
TLK Mew3 Warrior simply says, yay! I appreciate your enthusiasm. I will try to share in it with you.
To be fair, though, it does look like that when you're, like, Toby dead, but, like, and you killed him. Yay!
Toby, stop existing. Turns out none of us are actually, like, real in, like, the traditions. We're all, like, you know, we're powered by belief.
We're
like minor gods who need belief to exist.
Actually, what is actually the thing is that Toby is a clone, and he was a clone in The Phantom Menace as well, all the way through to Revenge of the Sith, and he was a clone at the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, we just never, like, you just needed to see our tweets. We never mentioned it actually in an episode of Bad Creepypasta.
So Toby is multiple clones.
I don't know if
also, Toby's a wizard and he shits himself, but he magics it away.
I don't know if you two are louder than usual or if my ears are more sensitive than usual, but like you're causing me great pain. Okay. I feel like I opened my eyes when I was asleep and saw only black. Not as if I were blind, but as if the rest of existence had simply disappeared and I was just alone.
I'm sorry, that's just your cell.
It was.
It's fucking zing there.
It's like, it's no cellmate just yet. It's been
He's
basically his
solitary.
cellmate was like, can I be moved to a different cell? This guy's a fucking creep.
He's just in solitary confinement for the rest of his existence.
Can they hear Gemma well? Because Jacob's sitting right in front of the mic and Gemma's right behind him.
I was just alone. It wasn't long before I woke to find myself submerged in reality once more. Thoughts of Abby quickly greeted me as I adjusted.
Of course.
It's just Instagram. I adjusted to the experience of my physical surroundings. Who talks like this? In fact,
no human does.
Who writes
Gerg.
like this?
Gerg.
It's Gurge.
Gerg.
Also, I thought of Abby. Fucking shocker. Do you think of anything else? This is one thirsty motherfucker.
Yeah, people can hear me.
Oh, okay.
I can hear the general. Yes. I did get like a text, like yesterday morning with General Kenobi. It's like, how are you today?
I see the one that always cracks me up. Just that post. It's like, hello there. Ah, several Kenobi. All right, okay. First, we're still on the first paragraph. For a week now, I had been constantly reminding myself how lucky I was to have a relationship that actually made sense. Really, it made, because you guys met like once, and then this doesn't feel like it makes sense to me at all.
Like you talked to each other 3 times.
You saw her kissing Seth Armstrong off Emmerdale, and then what happened to Seth?
He just disappeared.
She was with Seth.
Yeah, he just hasn't been in the last couple ones. Like, because we're doing it week to week, and then we just left. A week was left out, and then Seth just left it in that time.
Yeah.
Hopefully he comes back, because he is such a great character.
Well, the thing is, I know he likes to drink with Rocket Fist Rick.
General Toby Matt Kenobi.
Don't combine this
yeah,
one.
yeah, Toby Matt Jacoby.
Abby never did anything that I felt. Abby never did anything that I felt betrayed me or exceeded the bounds of reason.
Because you fucking had 4 conversations.
So anything that exceeded the bounds of reason. Was she a fucking great old one?
That would be a more interesting story.
Oh,
My girlfriend Nia Lapatep.
Basically anything could make this story more interesting. Like, any ideas we have right now would improve the story. Because I want to put the big light on, please. I think one of the reasons I feel kind of sleepy is that, like, the little lamps on the room's really dark.
Well, it's because you had a big lunch as well.
Yeah, it's like, were you really stoned? No, but I had a pub lunch, so I was pretty sleepy. Davis was sitting next to me on the bus. Oh, our favourite character. He was talking about his Lego collection.
I thought you were joking.
Wait.
Oh, he definitely got autism. His Lego collection and how he loved matching colours in sequence with the structures he assembled.
Autism.
Yeah. He said it made him feel like there was some balance and order to his life in a weird way. It was that or playing Sonic the Hedgehog. While I listened to Davis, my thoughts partially remained on Abby. She continued to fill my mind with hope no matter where I was or what I was doing. We arrived at school on, you guessed it, another cloudy day. I know it was unreasonable to assume, but I often felt like our school was the darkest place in the city. No, I think it's just wherever Abby is, because as we've discussed, she's an ancient god monster.
She absorbs the light of the sun and all that is good in the world. Also, where is this taking place? The same place as fucking Twilight? Is it going to be cloudy as...
I guess we're in Forks again. This imaginary place in Washington that doesn't exist. Forks.
That is the most unrealistic thing in all those Twilight movies.
The thing is, what annoyed me about that is that Washington is a real place, and there's loads of places in Washington that could have been and they say all the other real places, but no, let's call the town Forks.
Why do you care about that?
Yeah, it's just Washington's got some really cool names for places.
Yeah, but Twin Peaks isn't real either.
Yes.
That's Washington. That's Twin Peaks, Washington.
I hate
That's
Twilight.
a fake town.
Yeah, but I hate Twilight. So
yeah, but you can't have a go at them for making up a town in Washington when your favourite television show does that.
There's lots of there's lots of fictional places like you said, Forks or Twin Peaks or Canada. None of these places are real.
Wait, Forks is real? Genuinely thought it was a fake place.
So you're not only annoyed they made up a town, you were annoyed they made up a town and they didn't.
Right, what's next?
It was as if every morning the clouds would execute a biased agenda against our school, all for the sake of depressing every poor soul who attended it. The wind was blowing. Looking back, I felt like everything about that morning was screaming at me to wake up and see what was really going on. But I couldn't see it. I don't know how I could have. Dramatic events have a way of sneaking up on us, leaving us only with feelings of remorse. I don't think you're capable of remorse, Greg. And
That's a human emotion.
What could have been. Yeah, it's because James is the better version of himself, yeah. He's like, the best version of me, which is... the way Greg speaks now in all of his videos, just like a kind of depressed tone of voice and depressed monotone. It's like, this character, James...
He has lots of things to be sad about.
He's the best possible version of me. Because he can feel sad about the things he's done. And I cannot.
Someone made a Mystery Men like reference in the chat. Because it was like, yeah, forks is cool, but what about spoons? And then someone's like, the Blue Raja wants to know your location.
Literally, the best part of that whole movie, just, I didn't expect to see you, so spoon. Like, that's it. The rest of the movie's pretty mediocre. That one line is certified Kino.
Yes, it is. Oh, and it's good. All-star in it.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. You know, it's actually...
Davis got off the bus behind me, tripping a little. I was just like, I'm picturing him just like losing his mind. A normal kid would have gotten upset, but Davis, as usual, found a way to turn it into something positive. He even laughed as he stumbled.
I'm so uncoordinated, I'm going to smash my face on the ground.
I turned to check on Davis to make sure he was okay when I heard a loud popping sound ring off towards the school. My immediate assumption was that a car in the back parking lot had just backfired. There were still a lot of crappy second-hand cars at our school, so it wasn't unreasonable, but still. I assumed wrong.
Did Davis just get shot?
God, I hope so. Davis and I heard screams immediately after. In a way, the wind seemed to turn the screams. What sound...
What pad?
Hang on.
What?
In a way, the wind seemed to turn the screams that... What sounded like... What?
In a way, the wind seemed to turn the screams what sounded like a chorus. This was published.
I see what he's trying to do, but
like
he's failing.
Just fucking proofread your work, Greg. Come on. Just put the kid down a second. All right?
Someone's bound to be making a drinking game out of this.
Just take your dick out of the 15-year-old for just a moment and proofread.
Every time you make a joke about him having sex with this underage person, take a shot. Every time Jacob gets angry and says, proofread,
Greg,
take two
Greg,
shots.
You can't multitask, mate. So you just need to take, like, if your dick is in the mouth of a child, you can't proofread because you're not concentrating, okay? So I'm just saying that you can do both of those things, just not at once.
So it was like he didn't really publish it.
Yeah, he didn't publish. Yeah, it was published, on what, Kindle or some shit like that. But the fact is, it's a book. People paid for it. I didn't pay for it, but people have paid for this shit. Like, they expect the bare minimum that you bothered to proofread your fucking novel.
It's hard to write with one hand.
Hearing more popping sounds and screams in the wind, I instinctually... Oh my god, just fucking proofread! Hearing more popping sounds and screams in the wind, I grabbed Davis's jacket, pushing him back towards the bus.
What kind of sentence is that?
I keep making this is getting closer and closer to just being a creepypasta.
And then it's just like, and I heard the pop, pop, pop of the AK-47, and I heard the pop, pop, pop of the AK-47.
You think he could run faster than a bullet?
That drumming is going to pick up on that mic.
I wasn't drumming anything, I literally just put my hand there.
You were doing this. Like a horse galloping.
I wasn't moving my fingers at all. I mean, I think I lifted...
Alright, no one fucking cares! Move on!
Yes!
No, it was just like weird that you would deny it. Like you literally doing it.
That was it. I was doing my nose, that was it.
Aware of what was going on due to the heavy wind. Oh, this is so stupid.
Keep reading. It's getting to the awesome action part where you're going to pull out an AK and...
God.
gonna dual wield AKs for a massive DPS like Cervantes.
It's more like kidney stones to Abigail. Right. It's a good joke. I like that.
You should use it in an earlier bit.
Yeah, let's use my time machine.
Kai / Lainey at the time, proofread it.
Yeah, but I mean, she would probably, had
Well, she couldn't proofread it because she had one eye, closed due to the bruising. Also, you just said kidney stones. Do you know there's a thing called tonsil stones?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know about that until
Yeah,
at work.
Kai can't proofread with one another because he's got his hands down the pants of an underage kid. So, what I'm saying is, have someone who's not a sex pest proofread your work for you because they can be not preoccupied with being
a sex pest.
Being a sex offender, yeah. What's that amazing fucking joke we came up with earlier? I can't remember it.
No, can I?
It's really annoying. It was so good.
Oh
God, yeah, I remember now. It was really good.
Need to actually set it up.
We have to find a way to actually drop that in.
All right. I remember.
Yeah.
So did I. That's why.
To shake everyone into reality, I screamed.
Do it in the Greg voice. Do it.
I'll try.
When was this?
There's a shooting. Get back on the bus.
Get to the bus.
A sudden panic took over everyone within the vicinity. The bus driver, who was already looking around, suspicious of the faint sounds he heard, reacted as well. Get on the goddamn bus! He screamed. I could hear some students begin to cry out of panic as we all rushed to duck down behind the bus seats. The bus driver slammed the door shut, leaving behind a few students who had already walked too far away from the bus. This is just a meter away, just like, they're done. He's like, what about those guys? They're done for. Close the door.
In fact, he grabs a brick and starts hitting them. They're dead! Leaving behind! The zombies already! Like, what the fuck? They've been infected! I'm not an expert on... Aren't gunshots crazy loud even when you hear them from the distance?
Yep.
Yeah. I could hear some students being alright. The driver, despite being a grown man, was freaking out like everyone else, and as a result, found himself...
It's the only time when no one noticed Greg shitting himself on the bus, because everyone else was. Finally, I feel like I belong.
Now remember, this is James, not Greg. They're totally different people.
Oh yeah. Wait. So if the ideal version of himself is someone who has an uncontrollable, bladder and bowels, what's he like?
Okay, can we? Right.
Can you learn to proofread? Then you've already
not
set
just
4 times.
it's not a proofreading thing. Although proofreading would help with this, but can people just in general learn that this is not how you plural? Apostrophe S is never the plural of something.
No.
So that bus belongs to someone.
Yeah. And in this, you'd probably just put bus and then apostrophe and leave the S off the end. But this is that would still be okay for buses, as in thing belonging to the bus, like possessive. But you would also be fine to just go bus apostrophe.
I don't think it's our job, or we should really need to, explain basic English. This isn't like...
Matt, that's been our job for like the better part of a decade now. That's what we do. Apparently none of these people understand how their own language works.
I should not be the one teaching people how to read.
But I've been seeing this for years now, and I'm just sick of it. That is not a plural. Apostrophe S is never plural. ES, okay? Bus is. Fuck's sake. As our buses collided, our bodies smacked into the seats ahead of us. One student wasn't even hiding behind the seats yet and flew forward to land face down in the aisle. I saw throat all of a sudden.
This is when they found out that someone had put a bomb on the bus. And if it dropped below 60 miles per hour...
Stones to Abbigale. The bus
you can use those.
The bus that couldn't slow... Was it the Proxy?
Yeah.
The bus that couldn't slow down.
It's just like Speed 2 cruise control, but on a bus.
TLK New 3 Warrior says, thank you for all the English lessons, guys.
That's alright. I mean, it's obviously the fucking school system isn't giving them to people. Would you better eliminate again so I can take this tablet?
Yes.
Sorry guys, got a sore throat. So I'm
thank you for
just
the
going to painkiller. Yes. Yeah, the school
Don't
system...
drink it from the fucking...
The school
out
system...
your cup.
I don't need a whole cup, just give me a little bit. Just enough to swallow this pill, that's enough.
That's not share. was
I
good.
love how passionate they are about language and its use. Lol. Did you intentionally use the wrong "it's" there in that comment?
Yes.
Because I'm annoyed. That's a mean thing to do. All right.
Oh God, who is here?
I just read ahead. Seth comes back.
Oh.
Is he right driving his combine harvester?
Oh no.
The bus driver, quickly recovering from his mistake, backed up to maneuver out of the drop-off area. The window by my seat fell off the side of the bus and shattered on the ground, while the front windows also began to detach after being impacted by the earlier collision. A thunderous gust of wind burst through the void left by the fallen windows. With the wind came the sounds of even louder gunshots and screaming. I love the channel. Here is cash.
Thank you.
And I love you, random citizen. Yes, thank you, Gilgamore Games. No, Gilgalore Games, excuse me. Should have actually read your name instead of guessing what it said. I was just thinking Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh Games.
Yeah, but Rick's not here yet.
It's like, is that I, Gilgamesh? So I told that saga, all right. All right, I forgot where we were now. There's just the wind. All right. With the wind came the sounds of even louder gunshots and screaming as if the shooter was closer to the front of the school. I was too scared to look, but someone else had locked their eyes on the front door of the school and screamed, "Seth!" A sense of absolute horror overtook my body, and tears began to flow from my eyes.
And poop ran out the back of my trousers. You could just cover your mouth.
If Seth was really shooting up the school... I'm just picturing again, huge fucking old man, flat cap, enormous grey mustache.
and he's
With like a proper farmer's shot.
Yeah, I was going to say he's got
like
a
fucking
shotgun.
single shot, like...
It's just like old too long barrel.
Yeah.
Like
You have to crack it every time. Like, it's like really inefficient massacres. Like everyone's escaped by the time he's discharged his third shot. Like fired two off, cracked it open. A couple of
He's
shells
yelling to get off his property.
Everyone's gone already.
Along with Sadako and the citizens of Innsmouth, Greg is proof that humanity wasn't meant to mate with strange fish gods. Sphinx, Donkey Kong coins, cool new profile pic and channel banner, Cobe.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I hoped people would like them. Yeah, I thought
but people were really generous this week. Last week was so stingy.
Matt, like that's. I've had a go at you about this before. These fucking remarks about the super chat. It's extremely tacky. Yes,
I don't care.
I know you don't, but remember this is my channel. Please don't abuse it while you're here.
I'm the one paying for you to eat.
Yeah, that's my sugar daddy. What the fuck was I on about? Yes, the new banner and everything. So I changed my profile picture because basically that picture is from like the picture of me is from like 2012, and I was like, I don't look like that anymore. Who am I kidding? So I put a cool cartoon Dracula of me that was drawn. Right, was commissioned as a Christmas gift, but I still haven't been able to print it off because of a lack of funds. All right, if Seth was shooting up the school. If Seth was really shooting up the school, I knew that meant he would be looking for Abby.
Did you?
All fear left my body. Thinking only of her, I leapt up and screamed, "You have to let me off right now!" The bus driver ignored me initially. He was too concerned with getting away from the school.
And good on him.
He probably didn't even hear me with everything else that was going on. The inconsistent and forceful acceleration forced me to fall back in my seat.
The shit-stained one.
Anisi on, more like Anisi off. Got him.
More like Anisi gone straight to jail.
Anisi gone Oria.
Countless thoughts pounded through my head. Like, can I move to Japan where the age of consent is lower, but they don't like foreigners?
What about Alabama?
What about Germany? I think it's low in Germany, right? It's like 15, maybe? I'm not sure. I should go on the internet and check it out if I make it out of this massacre alive. My mind was numb.
I also, like, there's no build-up to, like, as you said, like, oh, I wonder when Seth's coming
like,
back.
I wasn't being ironic. Like, I hadn't read ahead. I was just like, I haven't seen Seth in a while.
Yeah, we have, like, so, like, oh, and now he's back and he's shooting up a school. We were joking about a school shooting earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have not read ahead or, like, I don't know, like, you might know something more about this or one of his other books.
I know a little bit about this one, and I know a little bit about the last one.
I know nothing about this, and I think Jacob's in the same boat as I am.
Yeah, I don't know anything about This Is Why I Hate You. All I know is that it's, like, really bad. And it's his worst version of himself.
God knows. And it'd be interesting if Greg's worst version of himself is a better person than James from this.
That'd be funny. But is it that one where he kills God?
No, that's the last one.
No, that's his ideal. No, that's his
Super ideal.
No, that's the good version of himself. This is his ideal version, and this and
The other one's is the worst. Right.
Yeah.
Right. We're in the middle of a school shooting.
Right.
We're not. Okay. We're reading about it.
My mind was numb.
Wind surged through my hair. I'm just picturing him getting off the bus like in Con Air.
Yes.
Uncle Balby says, the main reason you know that James isn't Greg is because the driver doesn't turn around and drop him back at the school. It's like a disembodied boot just like kicking him and, and stay out.
No. It's like when Jazzy Jeff's thrown out.
It's the same anime. It's the same thing every time.
Yeah.
Never
It's like
changes.
shot from below and just Greg like launched out of the bus. The bus driver, Uncle Phil.
The shredder.
Tonight we dine on school shooter soup. Fucking launches Greg at them. Everyone around acted almost like for some reason, it really looked like they said midgets. Everyone around acted almost like midgets by pretending to be bullied on social media. That reference is going to date very quickly. Unlike all our other comedy, which is which is timeless, absolutely timeless.
Thank you for some English bloke for the £2.
Thank you very much. Very nice of you. Everyone around acted almost like magnets, helplessly nailed to the dirty floor.
Is that how they work, Jacob?
I don't know. Fucking magnets, right? See, now there's a timeless reference. I was the only one sitting in a seat, completely lost in thought. My eyes staring off 1,000 yards, my skin pulsating with heat. I felt like I was a bomb only minutes away from detonation. I remained silent, still, waiting for my numbers to fall in sync. What?
What a cunt.
Waiting for my mind to greenlight an act that would change my life forever. I think your life has been changed forever. You're present at a fucking massacre. Like, this is going to change things regardless.
Can he please just catch a bullet?
I had a moment of abnormally intense clarity. Seb. I said Seb. There's no Seb in the story. I'd gotten bored of Seth, and I'm picturing Seb from my old work. Seb was one of the managers at my old job. It's a friend of mine, but no offence, but he's the kind of guy that might snap and shoot the place up.
You don't know, because maybe he's just going after Onision, James, and these people are in the way. How many school children would you sacrifice to kill Onision? That's not a question to Jacob, that's a question to you, the audience. We'll start a poll on our channel.
It's a question to all humans. How many legions of school children would you sacrifice in agonising, fiery death to get one good shot at Onision?
See, these aren't just normal bullets. These are bullets that turn into, like, lobsters in midair.
He's losing his mind.
Seth,
and reaping all the benefits.
not Seth, had irreversibly lost his mind. I could only suspect he would likely blame his broken state on Abby after their last encounter. I couldn't take thinking about it.
I love this, like, the bloody world revolves around fucking Abby. I know she's a gigantic creature from beyond the stars now.
It's like everything revolves around Abby because she has gravitational pull.
Yeah,
because she's so
larger
huge.
than her true form's larger than the planet.
But, like, who cares? You know what I mean? This guy's a school shooter. Who cares who he blames his fucking pathology on? He will almost certainly take his own life at the end of it anyway.
Or be shot in...
Yeah, or be shot by the police.
Maybe the full title is actually A Stone's Throw to Abbigale, which, like, that's how long it takes to get round her the whole way around.
Yeah.
Makes it sound less like a great old one, the more like she's just fat. Yo, mama, your girlfriend's so fat, you need to be a stone throw around her. Abigail, so fat, she sat in the rain, but skittles popped out.
You know, I love the scene in The Nutty Professor
with
Dave Chappelle, and he's just like. When Buddy Love goes there to get revenge.
Yeah,
it's so funny. Yeah. Like it's on like the way he's just
because
like his jokes aren't even that funny, but like it's Eddie Murphy's energy and like the way the audience just turns on him. It's just like
there's a bit where
after sex, I roll over twice and I'm still on the bitch. It's just like. And the hat comes off. It's got the worst fucking haircut you've ever seen.
I heard of dreadlocks, but shit locks.
Oh, it's such a good film. I'm actually, you know what? After this, I'm watching it as a professor.
Did I like? This is like
I haven't watched it in years.
Did I ever tell you about my idea? This is a bit of a tangent.
Yeah.
Basically before, like after I saw Taken, I was sitting with my friend Nathan just in the middle of it, and we were just talking about what they could do for Taken 2. And like they kidnapped his his daughter. Now they want revenge, kind of a bit like Taken 2, but not as shit as the actual one. And this would be they kidnap the rest of his family. The Clumps. Turns out he was adopted.
Just Liam Neeson just saving all these characters that are just Eddie Murphy in various fat suits.
Or it could be like Liam Neeson in various fat suits.
Taken to the Clumps.
Somebody in the chat was saying like, oh, wouldn't it be interesting if Rick was the shooter? I was like, yeah, what happened was Rocket Fist Rick was just strolling by the school on his way to the corner shop, maybe pick himself up some protein shake, right? And he overheard with his excellent hearing, overheard the kindergarten teacher say sharing is caring. And he was just like, communists on American soil!
Communist detective on American soil.
No, but if Rick didn't turn up at this point, he'd be deflecting the bullets with his fists. You may be bullets, but you know how they stand against the rockets.
Just picturing, was it Majinga Z with it's an old like
animation.
Mazinger
Z.
It's from no, it's Z. It's not Z.
Oh yeah, it's because
it's Japanese. Yeah. So so yeah, even if you're American, it's still Z. It's not like me saying Dragon Ball Z because I'm weird. Because they even sings it in the theme song. Anyway, there's a bit where like in the theme song where he shoots his fist off, and then like the Japanese singer goes like rocket a punch. And the reason I love that so much is that my friend Chris, when he saw that, because he'd never really heard like Japanese singing in English, like he misheard it and thought instead of just going rocket punch, yeah, or whatever, he was saying look at the punch. It's like when the fist comes flying up, he felt like the singer was trying to impress the audience with look at the punch.
I remember there's also when I showed you
that was like fucking, I don't know, 15 years ago, and that has stayed with me, that memory.
Which Chris?
Chris Bullivant.
Oh, Chris.
Fucking hysterical.
That also reminds me, did you remember when I showed you, what was it, the other thing that guy did, Get a Robo, where it's like the three guys, and there's the skinny guy, the other skinny guy, and the fat guy who doesn't have a proper suit.
Right, let's do it.
Back to this. Okay, so Seth the farmer is an AK, and he's fighting a giant robot with rocket punches. That's what I think we've got so far.
Right. I sprinted up to the driver and screamed, "If you don't let me off, I'll jump off."
And he says, "Do it."
Mm-hmm. The bus
Do it, bitch!
Plunged the bus into the side of the road violently. As a result, I stumbled, falling hands first onto the bus dashboard. The driver yelled, "You got a death wish! That's your choice! But I'm getting everyone else to safety." And I'm sure it's not your choice, aren't you, a schoolboy? Like,
also, you know, like so this the best version of yourself, a selfish arsehole who's willing to risk the lives of all these people on the bus.
Everyone's just really happy with look at the punch in the chat. He opened the door and aggressively motioned for me to get off. By the first wave of his backhand, I had already bolted out. I violently ripped my backpack open and tried to put on my... It's not real.
You said it wasn't real.
Okay. it's
Do a flip.
game faces on everyone. I violently ripped my backpack open and I tried to put on my skates while maintaining my speed towards the school. What you should have done, Greg, is gotten Heelys. You see, they're half shoe, half roller skate. So, what you can do, aside from looking incredibly cool, is that in a situation like this, a war situation, if you will, you can be running and then...
In a school shooting situation.
Without needing to reach into your bag. You can just go to the bottom, to the sole of your shoe and then pop out the wheels. And there you are. And just wheel your way into the school. I mean, I tried to put... Jesus fucking Christ. I tried to put on my... Is this just a really... out of taste, like bad taste comedy? Like,
No,
violently ripped my back open.
I swear,
and tried to put on my skates.
Jacob, years and years ago, there was this anime called Monster Rancher, where the main character would do shit like this. He would jump up in the air and then stick on skates to the bottom of his shoes. I can only assume Greg was watching this.
After only a few seconds, I was skating at full speed.
You think...
I could already hear the first
Shadow the Hedgehog horse shit is this now?
of many sirens come far off in the distance as the gunshots continued to ring in the heavy air. My whole body felt like it was jumping out of my skin. Tears continued to pour from my face, from both the wind hitting my A's? From the wind hitting my eyes.
My A's.
And the war raging in my mind. This
No, that's
story
it.
is so bad, it's ruining my ability to read.
Can we just stop for a second and just imagine, like, well, that's what Greg would like you to. Here's what really happened. Here's what James would like you to think. Here's what really happened, and it's him like reaching to his backpack, jumping out the back, and then just landing face first on the road, just eating so much shit. Hopefully, getting his foot caught on the back of the door as he's hit the ground, and is just dragged along behind the bus.
Eating tarmac.
Yes. So he gets, he wakes up 3 days later. He's missing all his teeth. His face has just been sheared off, and Abby has gotten back together with Seth
Look how you shut
because
for me.
it turns out that it was in fact someone else entirely, and Seth was the hero who saved the day. Because he never actually... Because someone just pointed out and yelled Seth, didn't they? Never established that he was the one shooting. Seth was the hero.
Well, Abby would be happy if he'd shut up the school anyway, because that's more.
a sacrifice.
That's just more souls for her to take.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we just all agree now that Abby is just like a shog off?
Yeah.
You got your fit in laundry.
Yep.
The war raging in my mind is the war of good versus pedo. As I approached the school, I could see freshly fallen bodies by the door, exactly where Seth had walked out as our bus left. I could have sworn they were all still moving, but my eyes were blurred from tears, and I knew many, if not all of the shots were fatal. I didn't know much of anything about human anatomy, which is why I was terrible at sex, and therefore only copped off with incredibly inexperienced, much younger women.
See, this is foreplay, isn't it?
Me tying you up and saying you can't tell your parents, that's foreplay.
Chaining you up in a basement.
Making you get a tattoo. Man,
Shaving your head.
Man, fucking...
Yeah.
But through the blur, I could tell that Seth was shooting people, mostly in the neck and head, leaving little for medics to work with.
Isn't it amazing how Seth is such a great shot?
Yeah, especially with his like old-timey farmer's shotgun.
Well, to be fair, he knows how to put people out of his misery. Like, especially with animals, you know?
Yeah. I fell
I'm just gonna be like,
to my knees.
so I'm guessing he's gonna turn out to have like an AR-12 or something automatic, and he's nailing people in the head and neck.
Or Greg can't write and he hasn't described the gun at all.
I think it is going to be. I think it's going to be an AR-15 because that's like the standard gun hater's gun that you always talk about in a story. So AR-15 can shoot a bajillion bullets in half a second, and it also shoots fire.
And it's accurate up to 700 miles. In fact, the bullets go for the head. You try to shoot them in the knee, just go straight for the head.
It's like, actually, like AR-15s have built-in VATs.
Yeah. No, it's like that gun from The Fifth Element. It's just that.
I fell to my knees at the entrance, whipping my legs around. What does that mean? While simultaneously straining to...
Wait, he fell to his knees. He whipped... Like, did he just... Is he trying to transform?
I'm picturing him like trying to do some kind of roller disco breakdancing.
I just like jump to the thing and then snap forward.
It's just like Greg, just like bum bum.
Just imagine
bum bum.
he's just going
Bum
Yeah.
bum bum.
Then just twist like just go crank. Quick! I need to become. I need to move faster. So I'm going to become digigrade. His knees just snap backwards. He can't shoot me if I got. Look how flexible my knees are now. He shoots me from the neck. I just duck down.
It's like his knees can turn into like blades.
Just picturing now he's got like bird legs like a fucking flamingo that just go the other way.
James, transform. Click, click, click. Horrific organic transformer. His chest cavity opens up, his head sinks.
Well, that's what a vegetarian body looks like.
We figured it out. So, this is actually entirely a retelling of Transformers. Seth is in fact Megatron. He didn't bring a gun with him. He figured out how to turn his arm into one.
No, he's figured out how to turn himself into... That's why he can't find Abby. Abby turns herself into a gun to be fired by Seth.
Because an allegory for sex.
What?
I don't know.
Right, so would that make Seth Starscream and not Megatron?
Yes. Abbigale is Megatron.
Seth, you fell for the last... Like, we missed that bit when we were reading it.
That's why they broke up off screen. Abigail's like, you failed me for the last time, Seth. You have failed to get the...
MacGuffin.
What's the power source? That'll do, yeah. No, I meant
the thingy of leadership.
There's a thing
the
that
Matrix.
No, it's not. It's a thing they have that powers them. It's called something.
Energon.
Yes, thank you,
Yeah.
Energon.
I know that the Matrix of leadership is what it's called.
There's just so much like random crap in all things. Like, go get me this one thing. Okay, you failed me, Starscream. You piece of shit. I'm breaking up with you.
You failed me yet again, Seth.
Well, the moon's crashing down now.
That moon cannot hit me fast enough. Okay. All right. Fell to my knees. Blah blah blah. The floor was so slippery with blood, too slippery with blood to move around anywhere on those tiny wheels.
What, like his Heelys or his the ones his feet transformed into?
They're definitely Heelys. Like that's
It's a tiny wheels.
like. We're retconning the roller skates. He went in with Heelys.
Okay.
No, but you can only find girl Heelys just because it's funnier.
My pants already had blood stains from the bodies nearby. I had no time to focus on what was happening. I had no time to consider anything but Abby's safety. I ran off in my socks, one barely even on my foot, leaving everything at the entrance. Quentin Tarantino wants to know your location. I felt I was running entirely on autopilot. Running entirely on... It gets worse. Listen to how it's actually written. On an autopilot function I didn't even know I had.
I fucking love that. You said that, and Joe Wright just immediately looked at each other.
In only seconds, I saw more blood than I had seen, let alone imagined, in my entire life. The inside of the school was soaked with the sounds of sobbing students. School was soaked with the sounds of sobbing students. I feel like I'm going to, like, drool on the fucking microphone from all of that. Who weren't shot, but too scared to move or even function. One student, clearly in shock, was just crawling down the hall, wailing and shaking. Some English bloke says, in actuality, this isn't an active shooter at all. The FBI were just trying to grab Greg, but got the wrong address. We're here at FBI.
FBI, open up!
Especially like Matt with 10 FBI hats on, just sitting next to me.
It's like...
Forgot where we were.
Wow, Ghost Rider, the Spirit of Vengeance is in the chat.
Nick Cage.
The thought of Abby, God's sake, shook me out of the sorrow I felt for that student. The first place I could think to look for Abby was her locker. Yeah, she was actually like 2.5 foot tall and could fit inside her locker.
Yeah, it's just like it's just like the there's a thing you see in like Hollywood movies like someone's bullied by being stuffed into a locker or something like that.
Have you ever actually seen like a locker is fucking tiny?
I've never.
You can't fit a person in one.
It's. I don't know if it's maybe an American thing, but there's literally never been a locker I've ever seen in actual life. Never seen in real life,
school,
or even on television.
The school, the gym, the swimming pool,
on TV,
work, anywhere I've been where like I've had to use a locker. The locker has been like probably big enough for me to put a couple of bags in, maybe my coat.
The biggest one I've ever seen would probably be about, I don't know, bit under 4 foot is probably the biggest one I've ever seen.
Yeah. Right, it's canon now. The Ghost Rider, the Spirit of Vengeance is just Nick Cage in the chat, and I'm going to continue thinking as such.
The first person, and I was already halfway there. I approached and found nothing. No one was even shot in the area of her locker, and I had to look. How disappointing for you! And I had to look elsewhere. As I returned to the entrance area of the school, I crouched next to the table and froze in place. Oh my God! See, punctuation is a thing that exists, Greg. You can use it in your writing. As I returned to the entrance area of the school, I crouched next to a table and froze in place to listen to any sign of where Seth was. It felt like minutes, but I imagine it was only seconds. My state of mind likely altered my perception of time. Every survival-based operation functioning to its maximum... Every survival-based operation functioning to its maximum ability aside from my flight instinct that deemed I run and hide like the rest.
I mean, is he just... He's just a robot.
We've been through this.
I know, he's just...
Another gunshot had finally violently shattered the sound of whimpers and lungs, desperately choking for air as they filled with blood. The gunshot sound was distant, as if it went off outside, on the other end of the school. Sprinting off in the direction of what I had already accepted as potentially my final destination.
Get it?
1v1 me. Abby remained at the forefront of my mind. Oh, really? You didn't need to tell me. This is at this point in the story. This sentence here is a fucking given. Abby remained at the forefront. of my mind.
Jacob, you're telling me that he's thinking of Abbigale.
Yeah, I know. It's shocking at this point, but
The thing is, as well, it's just sort of like, it's basically like, it's as if people are going to read it going, but he's not thinking of Abby. He hasn't told me he's been thinking of Abby right now.
I mean, it's
going to be an issue because the name of the book is Stones to Abigail, so obviously he must be thinking about Abby.
By Abigail, does he mean Yog Sothoth?
bursting out of the side doors of Lakewood High, I crouched and froze in place again. My senses once more ignited. I immediately heard a voice scream out.
I will not let you do this, you psychopath!
It was an old woman. The only old woman I ever knew to go anywhere near the trailer classrooms just ahead. It had to be Mrs. Stanley.
Oh, I know, I had to do like the McGonagall voice again.
Let's do it again.
I was like, I will not let you do this, you psychopath!
Sorry, we'll fix this. We'll fix this in post. We can edit that out. The only old woman
we can actually make you sound Scottish.
To go anywhere near the trailer classrooms just ahead. It had to be Mrs. Stanley. I shot forward like a cannonball being fired on a long-awaited enemy.
I'm just imagining Greg flying through the air.
It's like rolled up into a ball. With his, like,
maybe
newfound flexibility.
Oh no! Like,
No,
it's a bit like when, like in Space Jam, when Michael Jordan gets like crushed and put into like a ball, like into a basketball.
Gemma, you disappoint me so much. Clearly, Greg here is a triple changer, and not only can be a car, he can be like a jet.
Yeah, he's just rolling your ball. He's like Samus Aran. Even the wind.
Just anyone's first time in all of history there's anyone ever compared Greg to Samus Aran.
Just thinking like Abigail's ex-boyfriend Ridley. Even the wind felt like it had stepped aside to let me pass without resistance. No, you're not Rick. Okay, the wind, the elements do not make allowances for you.
Yeah.
Especially not.
Yeah, because like Rick, fire, wind. These are the elements. Rick's the avatar. I'm saying.
So you're not going
Rick.
towards like you're.
Follow Jose.
It's like you're not going towards that woman without resistance.
As the art trailer.
Riveting. There's a school. You're reading about a school shooting, and you're bored to tears.
It isn't boring.
As the art trailer came into view, I could see Mrs. Stanley approaching Seth. She stood tall, without any indication of fear. We've done the voice wrong. There's no such thing as a tall Scot. Seth
I'm tall.
was
No, you're
dressed
not.
in a long white coat with a pure white outfit underneath. Notice the stereotype that Scottish people are tiny.
Yeah, I'm
They
tall
have-
for Scotland.
You also have no colour.
Thanks.
Seth was dressed in a long white coat with a pure... Well, why does it... Of course, it's just like, fuck it. He's a school shooter, so he has to have a trench coat. This was all clearly premeditated. Like he wanted to proclaim how much blood he had shed. Not just around him, but on his body as well. He got what he wanted. He was drenched from collar to shoe in the blood of his fellow students.
I would say I think maybe he's expelled now. Wait! Did someone shove him first?
Yeah, did one of the people he was shooting at like throw like a bottle or something from the cafeteria at him to try to escape? Because them resisting, they need to be expelled as well. Still can't fucking believe that. And people in the comments were like, "Yeah, this happens all the time in schools." Like, why? Mm-hmm. Despite Mrs. Stanley's aggressive stance, Seth barely paid attention to her and limped by her trailer as if she didn't even exist. I assume his crippled posture was the result of the unfathomable reality he had found himself faced with. What he was subjecting everyone to, the mortifying level of terror and suffering, was like nothing he had likely imagined, and all it did was feed Abigail, who waited beneath the school. Going back wasn't an option on any level.
Yeah, so what happened is there's a prequel to the story about there's this church in the middle of nowhere, England.
I've just got this idea, like with saying like about how all the blood everywhere. The blood's just, like in the horror of Dracula when like the blood falls on the coffin, then it just kind of disappears into it. I was picturing the floor. This actually would be quite kind of cool in the movie, but like there's all this blood and it's just kind of being drained like down into like. There's that little plug holes you get in like communal showers and stuff. There's like those all over the school, just like taking in all this blood. Where there's massacres happen.
Abigail's true form is buried beneath the skull.
Yeah.
And this is just sort of like her avatar projection of like just like one tiny part of her, and she's luring in.
I know, but like this also goes back to what we were talking about earlier with like before like the stream with how underneath the Pentagon, and this where Abigail is. she's actually because like she's in.
Well, I can't remember what fucking movie that was, but it was some type of
Transformers.
No, that was Hoover Dam, and the other thing was a joke we made. But I told you this. The thing that reminded me of that was there was some film or something recently where they like underneath the Pentagon there's got a prisoner or something like that. Like that's a perfect fucking place to keep the prisoner. I hope he doesn't escape.
Oh dear.
Going back wasn't an option on any level. Seth was already dead to the world for what he had done. He had to have known there was no peace in life left for him in life.
Peace
In life?
In life.
Yeah, I didn't read that wrong. Look, there it is, folks.
There was no peace in life left for him in life.
Department
Perfect.
of Redundancy Department. No place to hide or chance. No place to hide or chance of ever fit. No place to hide, comma.
No place
Or
to
chance of ever feeling safe from judgment or persecution again.
Judgment, life.
Miss Stanley screamed at him again.
You are an embarrassment, a disgrace. How dare you, you scum!
Upon hearing her verbal condemnation, without hesitation, Seth whipped his gun. Upon hearing her verbal condemnation, without hesitation, Seth whipped his gun towards her like a sword being unsheathed. Learn to write. Time again felt like it had drastically slowed as his weakened arm struggled to steady his aim. I ran at Seth as he screamed in pain, just from the weight of lifting his gun towards her.
Turns out Seth was kind of a pussy.
Mrs. Stanley tried to step to the side of the shaking muzzle, but maintained her advance on him, clearly hoping to disarm him. I was just about to reach Seth to attempt disarming him, when out of nowhere his gun flew in the air, and Seth yelped as the air left his lungs. I screeched to a halt in my blood.
Oh, don't tell me she's kung fu'd him.
Trying to process what would happen. No, he's probably just been shot by the cops or something. My watery eyes and adrenaline was clouding my perception, possibly even more now than before, but I was able to process that another student had tackled Seth. I almost immediately identified the student as Jason from his size and clothing type alone.
He was the one with the piss
The
jar.
very same boy who had chipped my tooth and
Well,
pummeled
no, that was
my face.
the one who beat him up.
Oh.
No, this is R. Kelly, not Jason. R. Kelly.
Was now beating Seth senseless. In such a strange way, I could sense within myself a glimmer of deep satisfaction, not only from the realization that Jason had single-handedly cut the head off this otherwise ongoing tragedy in our lives, but instead that he had without a doubt clearly held back when he was fighting me. This time I could see Jason was letting out every ounce of brutal rage he had within him, and unleashed it all.
Yeah, it should have been Rick.
Desperately defeated Seth.
Oh, should have been Rick.
I love that this is the best version of Greg, and he can't even be the hero. Like, he can't even beat up. It's like somebody else has to jump in and save the day.
But, you know, this is like, it's an obvious self-insert fan fiction, you know, like wish fulfillment story, and it's still shit.
Oh no, Gemma, that is Alex. Yes, that's Alex.
Alex Fitzgerald.
Yeah, this guy reminds me more of, oh, fuck, I've forgotten who now.
The closest thing I can think of is, do you remember, one time, ages ago, we had a competition where we watched a bunch of Cringe videos.
Yes!
And
this guy reminds me of, sorry to interrupt, but I'm going to forget again what I was going to say. The guy we watched on stream who propositioned a pony for sex.
That guy.
That was it, yeah. It was a guy. Yeah, I remember the story. It was a guy basically had an imaginary date with one of the My Little Ponies.
Pinkie Pie.
I don't fucking care.
I know, I'm just saying that I know which one you're talking
And at the end of his imaginary date, he essentially asked if he wanted to go back to have sex. And he got turned down. His own imagination turned him down for sex. And he filmed it, and it was put on the internet.
Yep, and he also filmed himself attempting to make a new sort of spaghetti.
Mrs. Stanley turned her back on Seth, still being dominated by Jason's fists.
T-posing over him.
Leaving him for dead to go help other students. I collapsed to my knees, gasping for air as I heard Seth's face being repeatedly impacted by the fists and elbows of a justifiably enraged Jason. What was Jason's voice like? Can anyone remember?
I think it's just generic. It's just generic big guy voice.
I'll just be overly dramatic then. How could you do that to my family? To all of us? Do you think you accomplished anything, you bastard? You sick freak! Jason screamed at the now unconscious, bloodied face of Seth, while showing no intention of letting up. As I calmed my breathing, not forgetting my priority for even a moment, I quickly began running through Abby's daily routine at school. Shut the fuck up about Abby! I don't care!
Jesus Christ.
Her class...
It'd be funny if she wasn't at school that day.
Yeah, she stayed home. Her class just before art was...
Wait, would it be better if she died or gone back home to her home dimension?
I was going to say, her class just before art was human anatomy, where she learned about about our secrets and our ways and how better to blend in with us.
I wish you knew what Song of Saya was so I could make that joke.
I leapt over fallen chairs and abandoned possessions, only to find Abby's class completely empty. She was nowhere to be seen. I immediately reminded myself she was normally early, which made me begin to feel she had escaped safely, as there was only one door out, a door that, to my knowledge, had no bodies near it. I ran, taking the path of least resistance out the front entrance.
I just thought of the best way. What's going to happen is he opens up the door. He's like, Abby immediately gets stabbed by Abby, thinking it was Seth.
Yeah, she's like hiding around a corner. He bursts through the door dramatically. She just turns like knife like straight into the neck. It's like,
what happened? No, he runs through, and then she is behind him, and she goes to stab him. He turns around, catching her by the neck. She drops the knife, and then stabs him through the armor, and then all the White Walkers die.
In the mouth of Abinus. I ran, taking the path of least resistance, out the front entrance to see students gathering near the school property line. They were bundled in a tight-knit group behind the trees immediately outside the bus drop-off zone. Despite my aching feet, that's only funny to us, and intense stress, I reached the group in little time.
Yeah, there's a comment you'd like it. It's like a school. Was it? There's a school shooting. Better go look for my simp girlfriend.
Yeah, pretty much.
First,
I reached the group in little time, now missing a sock, and my feet littered with broken glass throughout my search for Abby. Most of all the girls...
Oh my god, he's so fucking thirsty that he's ignoring that his feet are cut to shit like he's John fucking McClane.
It's like crawling across like... My queen, I have crossed deserts of glass for you. Will you please spare me a crumb of that coochie? And she replies, no.
You creepy I read your email. Remember the fucking email?
God, that was creepy.
what?
Remember he sent that really creepy email to Abby?
Oh, yes.
I need more purple drink.
There's your purple drink.
Oh, Sunny D, alright.
No one's actually ever said, oh, Sunny D, been that happy to drink Sunny D.
The simp has fallen in love with the old god.
Fucking fuck.
Abby's just
It's just like Shrek, but like instead of Shrek interrupting a wedding, it's just bursting like Lord Farquaad just with like a baby and a knife to the sacrificial altar. It's like, I object.
Or just like when Seth going around, just like, some of you may die, but this is a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
We just watch Shrek and then the Nutty Professor instead of doing this.
Yes.
My queen, I need drink. Provide myself with thine bathwater.
Which ended up being poison.
To be honest, if someone had like told me, "Oh, there's a school shooting in Stones to Abbigale," I did know the background of how James was supposed to be Greg's like better half and all that, better self. I would have thought the main character was the school shooter.
Same.
If I'm honest, that's not me trying to be funny. It's just that we've read so many things like this, where the main character is written like this, and then they become a murderer. Most all of the girls were crying, while many of the boys were giving a 1,000-yard stare, their eyes locked on the school. Pushing myself through the group, I could see Abby sitting on the ground, in the upright fetal position. An overwhelming sense of relief consumed me as I fell forward to wrap myself around her. She was
get off me, you freak.
Whimpering uncontrollably. I immediately said, "I'm so sorry I wasn't there." She lurched up, only then realizing I had found her. She grabbed me with a strength beyond any embrace we had had before.
It's because she was a strong one.
I never imagined
I found a picture
she
of
was so
Abigail.
strong. Abby was unable to say anything over her crying. As a wave of emotion continued to overtake me, I had nothing I could say either. We remained speechless together. Through the group of students' legs, I could barely see the lights from police cars pulling up at our school.
You should not be looking through students' legs.
Everything seemed like it happened over a period of 40 minutes, but it was in fact a small fraction of that. Soon after, I witnessed unmarked cars, ambulances, and SWAT had all responded with a similar level of urgency as well. Maybe that, or that, all responded? I don't know. We could only sit and wait as the police sorted out everything that had happened over the next few hours. After some time, I was able to report on what I saw as I sat on the curb while a medic pulled the glass out of my feet. They were
Calling you after Pratt the entire time.
out of ambulances and stretchers, so I was just grateful to have someone help me get patched up, since the adrenaline was no longer distracting me from the pain. We were given blankets as we waited outside. Abby refused to be more than a foot away from me for a single moment. But that's the most difficult to believe thing in this whole sequence.
Mm-hmm.
We were both so incredibly relieved.
Well, considering how big Abby is, like.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, she's always like a foot away from him, because sometimes it seems like you're always only a few feet away from a spider at any given time. It's like, yeah, it's the same with Abigail. You're only a few feet away from Abigail at any given
Abigail, mother of 1,000 young.
She's, there she is. She sits on her throne of skulls.
Goat of the Black Forest.
Drinking from a golden chalice filled with the filth of her own fornication, Abigail said, "I am the mother of all harlots."
Can you just replay that some more?
If anybody gets that reference, just let me know in the chat. Abby refused to be more than a foot away. We were both so incredibly relieved to still have each other, as if we were vital parts of the same system, one not being able to maintain their stability without the ensured safety of the other. Off in the distance, I could see a large amount of empty body bags being delivered. The entire area was swarmed with every emergency response service you could imagine. Not far behind stood a group of reporters, significantly expanding in size every passing hour. Just like Abigail herself.
She consumes the death and grows stronger on it. It makes sense. Why they're in a relationship. Because she grows stronger the more misery in the world there is. And can you think of a more miserable fuck than Onision?
Right. This isn't very fun, this whole section.
That's why we need to make jokes about Transformers and shit. Oh, let's bring up Barney Rubble and fucking Fred Flintstone doing a train on... What was it? Game Dude.
Oh, gee, Fred, how long do you think Abigail has existed? I don't know, Barn. Probably since before we were here. And she'll be here long after we're dead.
You see, Barn, when the demons salt in Great Azathoth, the nuclear chaos birthed the...
She's older than the written word. And she will surpass it.
Before time immemorial.
This great comment in the chat. I feel greasy just listening to this. He's a very greasy man, Onision.
He is.
And the fucking
that's lube. A lot
of like the grease in the hair and the acne. He just looks like he's rotting.
He looks like one of the
He's being kept
apocalypse.
Yeah,
he's being.
Yeah, he is. He's exactly like one of them. They should call him Sex Pestilence.
I activate my truck card. I placed at the beginning of the duel.
I don't care if no one reacts to that. There it is, Sex Pestilence. I rank that as amongst the funniest things ever said on the channel, because I like jokes like that. Fred Flintstone went mad and wrote the original Necronomicon.
In Dino's blood. Bound in dinosaur leather.
Fred!
Well, now, how do you spell Cthulhu?
Agnakakak.
I thought you were going to go bowling with your friends. I can't, Wilma. I gotta prepare a sacrifice of 1,000 children.
What was that? There was the little green alien. The Great Gazoo.
The Great Gazoo.
Yeah. That's not what he really looked like. They couldn't show his true form on television. He would have brought the madness like the real cowboys of Mumesa.
Greg's a Minji Munter.
The blind idiot god. Beautiful.
Sex Pestilence sounds like a Final Fantasy X boss.
Where the fuck were we?
Who cares?
Off in the distance.
Oh, I think we read that one. Not too long after my feet were bandaged, and I had given the police all the information they asked for, I was able to leave with Abby.
Of course you were.
That's just like you praying to your dark god Abby.
Yeah, like, that's her true name that I just said. It's very difficult to pronounce with the human tongue.
Dagon intensifies. It's always like
Look at this comment from Mr. Shades. I can't even read it aloud. It's so weird.
Where is it?
Can't wait till we meet Abby's sister, and then it's just gibberish.
Oh, yes. Wilma, help me and the Gazoo ride the thing called the Necromonicon.
Wait, they Barney and Fred do belong to a secret society.
So with like the weird like buffalo hats on, just standing around in a circle, just these candles, like just like just Betty just tied up screaming. It's like, here we go.
You will give birth to our new god.
Uncle Bobby says, you see, Bon, she imposes order on the chaos of organic evolution. We exist because she allows it. And we will end because she demands it. Oh, gee, Fred.
The Great Gazulu. Gazathulu.
The Great Gazathulu.
The Bedrock Horror.
Yeah, what, like, did we ever establish
Okay, fucking Great Gazathulu and Sex Pestilence are the two best things. I demand, in fact, in the name of Abbigale, I demand fan art of Sex Pestilence and the Great Gazathulu.
They don't need to be together, they can be two separate ones.
But
because it's just like, gee, Bart, this like blurred out tentacle horror in the corner. Hey, that's better. You better write that down, dum dum.
it's just
it's still exactly the same, except for it's just, instead of being a little green man from Mars, it's just a bundle of horrifying tentacles and eyes.
Just an abomination.
And instead, it was like it could be a complete sort of I'm sorry, John, but instead it's I'm sorry, Bart. It's just Fred turned into some like.
It's actually like Fred Flintstone hiding. It's like kazoo. It's just like huge, like enormous mouths, like thousands of rows of teeth and screaming heads inside them.
Yeah,
just
Bedrock, or Bedrock is where Innsmouth will become eventually.
Shadow over Bedrock. Oh, there's someone put
They
shadow...
interbred with the dinosaurs, and when they reach maturity, they would use.
That's what Cliff Vandercave's bloody plan was all along.
The Great Gazoo was trying to save Bedrock from Fred's cult.
Gemma, we will have to prepare for the end times. We must be ready for Cthulhu.
This is such nonsense. It's just
Remember, we're still being paid by, or we're still sponsored by Audible to do the audiobook.
Just this, I do love though, and like just to follow on from this, is that how they had an episode of Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated where they have someone called H.P. Hatecraft, and
Harlan Ellison as himself.
Yes, it was Jeremy Combs or Combs, Jeffrey Combs who plays H.P. Hatecraft, and he wrote like this book which is basically the Necronomicon, which is like called Sharkar Gothicon.
Did you dig my fan art on Twitter? Which one was it? Do you know who this person? This looks like uni. Apparently, they sent fan art on Twitter.
I've been sent a few, but the ones that I was sent, I put up on Facebook, so okay. I don't know if I have it yet.
I love that this channel is just a cult for the Great Gazoo. It's just like we've referenced the Great Gazoo more times than I think the rest of Western civilization has in the last 30 years.
I think the next stream we're going to have to talk more and more about how about Scrappy doing and his stuff.
Okay, not too long after my feet were bandaged, I had given the police all the information they asked for. I was able to leave with Abby. As soon as we headed towards the cordon, I saw my mum waving her arms just outside the police-established barrier. Upon seeing her, the immediate sad reality sank in both our minds that Abby's dad didn't even bother to show. That moment,
so sad.
I sat down and I began to think about today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends is an incredibly ambitious RPG for your mobile phone. There are 100 epic champions to collect. I myself play Raid Shadow Legends, and if you join today, you'll get 100 free gold and you'll be able to join my party. I'll be accepting invites into my party for the next 24 hours, so join Raid Shadow Legends today. The most popular online mobile phone RPG of 2019 is about to become the biggest cell phone event of 2020.
The fact that you fucking did that without making a joke, and we're not actually being sponsored. You stupid cunt. You're giving it away for free.
Yeah, I'm like one of those porno accounts on Twitter that like posts titty pictures and then it's like, pay me. I'm like, why? I've seen the tits now. What, you're going to show them again? Here's $50. Oh, there's the same tits I saw for free. You fucking idiots.
Yep.
Yes, you are, Jacob.
I don't want a sponsorship from Raid Shadow Legends.
Yes, you fucking do. It means money.
I don't, because then I'll have less dignity than I can't say who, but a friend of ours who's a popular YouTuber. Because I'm probably not allowed to say this, but yeah, he got approached for a sponsorship, and he told them to go fuck themselves in those words.
Yes, but also, you need the money.
Yeah, I don't need it that badly. I don't need it badly enough to be sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
You don't know how much they'll be offering you. An entire half tin of baked beans.
See, if it was a fucking crate of Lion bars, then we'd be talking. But half a tin of baked beans? I can get baked beans for 26p. It's like Aldi.
It's like just fucking that sketch is so fucking weird. I think we brought that up one time, like being sponsored by Lion bars, and yeah.
I genuinely think, like, in our heyday...
You said that you wanted to be sponsored by Tommy.
During that period where we were popular, like, I think during that week and a half, we should have gotten a sponsorship from Toffee Crisp.
The one, you just, like, asked them for a pity box of...
Yeah, it's been like, guys, can you send us loads of Toffee Crisps?
Something died in the machine, you can have these.
Sounds like you're friends with Pyrocynical.
Oh, did Pyrocynical tell them to go fuck themselves? Does Raid Shadow Legends just jerk off every YouTuber they can just to promote their lame-ass looking game?
It's like, did someone say baked beans?
BCP OnlyFans went, yeah, I'll give it away for free, and then wonder why no one's sending me money.
I have actually no idea about... I've seen a bunch of people sponsor, but I have no idea if it's actually any good.
What, Raid Shadow Legends?
Yeah, it's a mobile game, so I imagine...
obviously garbage.
Well, I mean, it's a mobile game, so, but I mean, by mobile standards...
I've never tried to play it.
I don't like my dad, but I need the stylus machine more than I need. That was my
right. Knowing what I was thinking, Abby tried to reassure me, and likely herself in the process. She began saying her father probably didn't even know there was an emergency, but pointed out that he was probably still recovering from being drunk the night before. As I walked into my mum's arms, she became the second woman that day to show me a strength I never imagined they had.
She snapped his neck. It was all a plot.
I love women. I am a feminist. And the fact I'm a sex offender is entirely coincidental.
I believe they should have the right to remain silent as I turn them against the radiator. And then grape them in the mouth.
I'm glad you understand why I can't draw the porn video until you pay, Cobe. Bless you.
Shadman's in the... Oh, hey, Shadman!
Bless you.
You
Shadman,
sneeze
yeah.
into your arm.
No, you sneeze into your elbow.
Why?
It prevents germs from spreading.
I don't think it does. Anyway.
It's actually government health advice. It's probably stupid because it's from the government.
Speaking of which, remember the...
Government bad, guys.
Government.
That's my entire political position. It's like, hey, Jacob, what are you a political man? Yes. What's your stance? I'm against it. What? All of it. Tear the whole thing down.
And the keys to the state we should be living in.
Someone needs to make a buddy cop movie with Onision and the ghost of Jew Warrior.
Like, how unpleasant would that be? That'd just be them, like, awkwardly denying their awful sex crimes to each other. Where the fuck am I? Alright. Their strength. See, women are so strong. I, like all male feminists, am a sex offender.
Like, well, they're clearly not that strong if you can overpower him, Onision.
Her hug, while
With
painful,
his vegetarian body.
offered me an unforgettable sense of comfort. As she embraced me, she revealed to my surprise that she had already been briefed on how close I was to everything that went down.
Like, charging the fucker.
Oh, I know what happens now.
Continuing to hold me in one of the longest hugs I had ever experienced. She told me how mad at me she was, while also expressing how simultaneously proud she was of me. I can't imagine your mum's proud of you. For running into danger when so many people ran away. I'm proud of you. Not as proud as Jason's mum is of him for actually tackling the shooter and taking him down, but well done, son. Let's get you some ice cream. It's like a participation trophy.
So if, let's say, in another world, Jason had the shits that day, and, you know, you're the crazy gun guy, and Onion Boy with his vegetarian body tries to tackle you, what happens next?
I too think we should stop Gemma from spreading.
I imagined she assumed it was to help everyone in the school. But the truth is, I could only feel selfish knowing I wasn't doing anything for anyone but Abby. I was ashamed and somewhat terrified by how little I seemed to care about most everyone else outside of her. The best possible version of Greg, ladies and gentlemen. The love and compassion being expressed towards me continued to leave me speechless. I felt Abby rubbing my back as my mum continued to lock her arms around me. Abby's physical act of affection triggered a thought, causing me to jolt upright. I quickly asked my mum if Abby could stay with us that night, and she responded positively. Her one stipulation is that we had to stop by her dad's house first to get his consent.
It's a shame that Onision didn't actually take that into consideration with everything else.
We all got in my mum's car and drove to Abby's house. My mum approached the entrance of their home.
Is he still
by herself,
walking?
I imagine he's sort of hopping. We were basically unable to do anything outside of repeatedly revisiting what had happened earlier that day. She knocked on the door multiple times and got no answer. She then walked back to the car and said...
Hey Abby, seems no one in the is at home. Want me to get your things for you?
Abby replied,
No, it's okay. I'll get them myself. My dad's kind of crazy about intruders. Wouldn't want anyone.
Abby stopped speaking and simplified things.
Be right back.
My mum opened the car door for Abby as she hopped out too quickly. Oh no, it was correct. I'm now just assuming there are mistakes where there aren't any because it is written so incompetently. And she hopped out to quickly raid her room for the essentials.
Raid Shadow Legend.
Before I knew it, she was outside again with a bag full of her things. She was so quick to pack that it occurred to me leaving her place on the fly might have been more familiar to her than I knew. Remembering her brief comments earlier, I imagined there were many times where her home had become such an emotionally hostile environment that she was rendered unable to stay, causing her to seek most any way out, even if it meant she was leaving one sinking ship just to climb aboard another. Even if, with her head shaved, she's screaming into the camera, I don't care, Greg, people are going to know about the things you've done to me. That wasn't meant to be a joke, I just fucking hate this person so much.
Yep.
My mum began talking about how happy she was that my sister had skipped school that day. She said,
Who would have thought her rebellious attitude and disregard for her future might have saved her life?
Even under the circumstances, that's an irresponsible thing to say.
Also, it turns out that she was caught in a different school shooting.
Actually, it was like Seth just came and shot her at the house.
He did the practice run at a different school. Did they describe like what kind of gun he had or anything?
Nope. That's what I said.
Had we
You're
not
right.
been through everything that day, we would have.
I'm going to say he had a water pistol. Everyone's just really overreacting.
Found ourselves all sitting in
He had a paintball gun. Everyone's just really stupid.
After cleaning ourselves up, Abby and I walked into
paint.
my room, leaving the door open as a comfort to my mum. It was short-lived, the end specifically occurring after my mum had walked into her room and closed the door. Our door closed with hers. Initially, I had offered Abby the bed, implying I would take the floor, but she sat down on the mattress and expressed almost exactly what I was feeling.
After everything we went through today, your lying next to me is the only way I'll feel any comfort tonight.
She said softly.
I'm trying not to vomit blood, I really am.
I wanted to vomit.
I said, I'll take the comfy chair, and she said, can you just hold me? I was relieved and laid behind her. Though that night and a few nights to follow, can you pick that up? Whatever you've dropped that's all over my butt now?
That would be the drink.
That is very cold liquid on my butt.
Yeah, you've got a lemonade splashed on your butt. The good thing Toby's not here because he's a
Yeah, as I say, my ass would have just disappeared into Toby's gaping mouth then, like my entire buttocks.
like a snake swallowing you arse first. Toby can do that. He just unhinges his jaw. Usually keeps like dozens of waffles in there.
By the way, that was me trying to save your hat.
Right.
And he got so in exchange for your hat not being on the floor anymore, you now got a wet butt.
Yeah.
Your
But
butt
it's
is
so cold and wet.
lewd.
Guys, subscribe to my OnlyFans.
I'm sorry.
If you want more dirty talk while you read Stones to Abbigale.
Toby just dislocating his jaw, swallowing a human ass.
One of these days, Toby's just going to be like, oh, we're going to go catch up on all these episodes I wasn't in. And like, what?
Just like if it was...
All right, I got this far, and they've just been making fun of my disgusting inhuman habit of sitting in the corner, munching on waffles that have not been cooked. I hope they don't say anything about that my habit of dislocating my jaw and eating human asses whole. They did! Oh, bother. That's my Toby now.
Toby swallowing Jacob's ass is a mental image I could have done without for the rest of my life. I would have died peacefully without
But,
that.
so, if you want more of a bad creepypasta war,
then kill yourself. Because you're a blight on society.
wait, I felt a way of making it worse.
Go away.
He ate your ass, but your leg, your feet, sort of sticking out, and then the camera or writing point was stuck on your feet. So it's co-written by
Quinto Tarantulino.
yeah.
Written directly, no.
I just don't know where I am.
Initially,
What, in life, or-
as was expected.
Okay. I didn't really mean with the story, Gemma, but yeah. As was expected, the school had been cancelled for a couple of weeks. This reality left us to consume our time with the news. Talking
Like,
about
wait, Toad consumes asses.
we recognised in the photos. They showed and checking in on various people we talked to at school over the phone, including Davis, who had no problem getting upset at me for the first time in a long while for abandoning him on the bus as I did. Fortunately...
Wait, because, hallelujah, he wasn't there to save the day, was he?
No, Jason was there to save the day. Wouldn't it be great if Davis started hanging out with Jason now?
It was like, the
Like, oh
adoring-
boy, Jason's here to save the day.
It's
What's it? Lakewood High. The hero of Lakewood High. Everybody cheers. And then Onision gets on the bus, doesn't even get any second-hand claps.
He's a hype man now for like a good character.
It was like the adoring fan in Oblivion.
He just looked like him, that same stupid haircut and all.
It's like, can I follow you around? The hero of Kvatch.
So I mentioned Davis is a fucking high elf from Oblivion.
More money just to have more butts in mouths. I found this old bit of behind the scenes footage from I Am the Night, which is one of the films we put up on YouTube. And Nathan, a friend of ours who was working on the movie, we're just talking, setting up a shot in the background. He just goes, "I just want to be dicks in mouths, okay? Those are my movies." It just comes out. He sounds like so angry. It's just like, such a weird moment. But yeah, it's just the dicks in mouths.
Buy Azura, buy Azura. Buy Azura is the grand champion. Yes, Jason is the grand champion.
Fortunately,
It turns out it was actually some sort of... They're actually just playing live PUBG.
Fan art coming, and it's not for the faint of heart or those who have eaten recently. Alright, Bean Daddy.
Secret lemonade.
Fortunately, in natural Davis fashion, his frustration was quickly followed by jokes and words of encouragement. Abby and I
can't quit you.
How to feel about so much of what happened. Through our time away from school, we shared many moments of sadness, reflecting on the faces we would never see again, hearing the sad speeches of those left behind by the fallen. But
Wasn't
most of all,
James
our
like a
expressions of
misanthrope who didn't
sorrow
care about people?
erupted from our own
examined
experiences. The images and screams still echoed in our
Like an
minds.
alien.
Yeah. Oh, secret lemonade.
Aside from the sadness I felt, an almost equally intense sensation of numbness. After a short time, I found the only comfort that consistently broke through my shaken state
Wait, is it Abigail?
Yeah.
was the warmth of Abby pressed against me night after night. She was my sanctuary, and that, my friends, was chapter 7.
Do you want to take a break, or do
Yeah,
you want to call it?
let's take a break.
Is that what time did we start?
6 o'clock.
Or was it 6?
No, we've been doing it for a little less than an hour, I think.
Do you want to see how long this chapter is?
Yeah, let's. I mean, if it's a long one, we'll finish the stream. If it's a short one, we'll do it.
So that's 3 pages.
4 pages.
5.
4.5 pages. I don't know. That's probably going to take us a while.
Looks like-
How long was the last chapter? The one we just read. 7. Okay, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
8.
7. Well, you can't really say 8 because it was like 2 sentences. So 7, and it took us fucking ages.
That's mainly because we were like bored to shit and derailing it and making great old one jokes.
Yeah, that is true.
Toby Four jokes.
This name I don't know how to pronounce. It simply says such sordid behaviour and a sad face. I'll have a quick look on Twitter to see if I can. Somebody was like, "Jacob, did you like my?" Oh, it's on Twitter. Somebody
Did you
see if I
hurt
can
yourself?
find it.
I think my arse hurts from sitting on this chair.
You should have sat on something that is an actual chair and not the arm of a fucking couch.
I know, but it's...
No, I can't find the art they're talking about.
Send it again. And send more. And
I'll check on mine just in case it was sent to me.
remember, give all the Vor pics to Gemma.
No.
Or don't draw them in the first place. That's an
I don't say
option.
you just like commission them.
How many
Pay an exposure.
How many chapters are in the story? I'm thinking 16.
We're about halfway point
Yeah,
where we are
Jim's
now.
right. Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, it's good. I think we should wrap the stream up here.
We don't need to do like 2 chapters because
No,
like
I
the
don't
first one
think
was.
so, yeah.
I
It's
think
quite
we did quite a while and like more stuff. Like, sorry for anyone who's hoping for an actual creepypasta. We're gonna be doing this for a while. This is easy for Jacob.
But yes, thank you very much. Now, I will be streaming again tonight, but without Matt, and possibly with only Gemma for the second half of it. So I hope to see you for that one, if you can make it. Obviously, if you can't, that's totally fine. You've no obligation to be there. But I'll be deeply hurt if you aren't. No.
He will be. He'll start crying.
Yes.
It's not. It's not pretty.
Crying, masturbating.
So why is the instruction manual to Super Smash Bros. Melee just out?
Logan was reading it.
I see.
You shouldn't let him read. Give him ideas.
Of how to play Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Climbing up edges. Characters can grab the edges of platforms in Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Oh, you've already
Grabbing
reposted
edges and climbing up them is a fundamental part of traversing terrain and successfully performing recovery moves. And also, it's a really fun way of hogging the edge, not letting anyone else back on.
There's also an instruction manuals when you're at a tournament, don't wash.
Yes, that's very important. Well, folks, I think I'm going to say goodbye. But I will see you later on this evening for some video and some just more stuff. Bye.